help save our generation.
Time is moving me towards the edge. Been brawling with the enemy, he's been messing with my memory. In this life that we're living in, only you can make us whole again. I've been fighting through the storm and the rain. I need a clean heart and a new fresher wind. Maybe it's time to start life over again. My heart is crying out for freedom. That's what I need. Freedom. Ooh, yeah. That's what I want. My freedom. Look around in this place I'm in. I'm crying out in darkness. No light in front to see. Searching for strength and guidance in this walk I'm in. I'm asking you to break the shackles off of me. I've been fighting through the storm and the Lord rain. Knows I'm tired. I need a clean heart and a new fresher wind. I wanna keep a pure heart in you, Lord Jesus. I'm tired of being bound. That's why I'm crying out for freedom. Yeah, freedom. That's what I need. I need my freedom. That's all I need. Yeah. We got the victory. No chains are holding me. I've been set free in you. We've got the victory. No chains are holding me. I've been set free in you. We got the victory. No chains are holding me. I've been set free in you. We got the victory.
We are getting a first look at how Motor City is trying to keep up with Silicon Valley in the race to build self-driving cars. Ford announced a new partnership with Walmart to test autonomous vehicles in Miami for delivery of everyday items like groceries, diapers, and pet supplies. The automaker is also developing a program set for launch within 3 years to allow riders to hail a self-driving Ford with an app. Chris Van Cleve visited South Florida for an early test ride.
The car is driving itself now?
The car is currently driving itself.
Every day on the unpredictable streets of Miami, it's a bit like driver's ed for Ford's self-driving cars. That was a very, human feeling left turn. Ford gave us early access to the cars. A safety driver up front keeps his hands on the wheel, but the car does the driving. The onboard technology is still being refined ahead of actual passengers being allowed to hail a ride by 2021. Were the car makers slow to the table to get started on self-driving cars?
Yeah, I think most of them were in that they just weren't sure, is the technology real? Can it really work? Will it really operate someday without the need for any human driver input?
Brian Selesky is the CEO and co-founder of Argo, the startup some say is on a mission to save Ford's future. The automaker was years behind companies like Waymo, which is about to launch an autonomous ride-hailing service in Arizona. Ford invested $1 billion in Pittsburgh-based Argo. 2,500 miles away from Silicon Valley, they've built the technology that powers Ford's self-driving ambitions. It's not hyperbole to say Ford's future rests on how this goes.
We thrive on it.
Ford already started a ride-sharing business and this month bought Spin, an e-scooter company.
This is really a disruption to our current business model. We are disrupting our own business. We're looking
it's being disrupted whether you guys do anything or not.
Yeah, you're right. But we're looking at fewer cars and better ideas.
In Miami, Ford partnered with Domino's and Postmates to test vehicles that'll one day make autonomous deliveries to learn how people will respond.
Every time we do a delivery, we learn something new. We learned that they really like the fact that they don't have to tip an autonomous vehicle.
Autonomous vehicles are estimated to become a $7 trillion business by 2050 and save more than 500,000 lives on the roads by reducing accidents. But in March, a self-driving Uber SUV hit and killed a woman. Argo believes its technology would have avoided the crash. How confident are you your cars won't make a mistake?
I'm very confident that the car will do the right thing just because of how we've designed the system.
And that's important, says CNET Roadshow's Tim Stevens, because this could be the future not only for Ford, but for transportation in general. Is this a situation where you need to be first?
I don't think you necessarily need to be first, but you certainly need to have a plan in place and some technology in place.
The next phase will be to expand autonomous operations to a second city, Washington, D.C. Eventually, Ford plans to put passengers in the back seat and begin autonomous deliveries.
But here's the thing. Once our trucks and taxis drive themselves, what will happen to the people who used to do those jobs? In the U.S., that's 180,000 taxi drivers, 600,000 Uber drivers, and 3.5 million truck drivers.
We really need to start to think very seriously about this.
Martin Ford is the author of Rise of the Robots.
This is it.
He says driverless cars and trucks are just the beginning of a wave of automation that will threaten millions of jobs in every industry at once. Like America's nearly 5 million store workers. Later this year, shoppers in Seattle will be able to walk into the first Amazon Go grocery, take what they want, and walk out again. Sensors will detect what you take and bill you automatically.
The cashiers are totally gone. You're going to end up with the equivalent of a Walmart with, a handful of employees. You scale that out, and that's just extraordinarily disruptive.
You name an occupation, and there's somebody considering a robot to take it over.
Look how delicate. Perfect every time.
At Zoom Pizza in Silicon Valley, 4 specialized robots help make the pizza. Eventually, the company plans to replace the remaining humans on the line, too. Here's Zoom's Chief Technology Officer, Josh Goldberg.
You would think there would be some Roman pizza chefs who'd say, no, this is not the way it's been done since our ancestors.
Well, the world changes. There's a lot of other things we don't do just the way our ancestors did either.
The common wisdom is that robots primarily threaten repetitive blue-collar jobs. Not so, says Martin Ford.
We're seeing dramatic advances in the area of computers analyzing tumors, recognizing medical scans, mammograms, and being able to find disease. We're seeing, algorithms move into areas like journalism, for example.
Wait. Certainly not journalism.
Oh, yeah, absolutely journalism. By one account, every 30 seconds, there's a news story published on the web or maybe in a newspaper that's machine generated.
Algorithms are even threatening the masters of the universe. 2 weeks ago, BlackRock, the world's largest money manager, announced that it's laying off dozens of human stock pickers and replacing them with robots. By 2025, across the financial industry, artificial intelligence is expected to replace 230,000 human workers.
Bring on the disruption that is automation.
Alicia Wiesel is the Chief Information Officer at Goldman Sachs. The company now hires nearly as many computer engineers as financial workers.
In the movie Wall Street, they would have been barking, buy into the phone.
Yes, and now they're going click, 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 type.
See the famous Goldman Sachs trading floor? Well, a quarter of these people aren't traders. They're coders, writing software to automate the routine grunt work of employees all across the company.
Someday, could software replace the functions of these folks?
That's a great question. I don't think anybody knows the answer.
All right, we get it. No job is safe. According to one recent study, 47% of American jobs could be lost to automation in the next 20 years. Martin Ford says it's time to start thinking about what we're going to live on in the post-robot economy.
My heart is crying out for freedom, 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 freedom. That's what I need. Freedom, freedom, ooh, yeah. That's what I want.
For my first official question of the interview, what was missing from the conversation that made you want to add your voice?
Timing. What we need depends on where we are in the history of this country. The topography of this country has changed in terms of how we make a living quite a bit, from agricultural. We went through that phase to industrial age, to the information age that we're currently in right now. And people have had to retool themselves in order to keep up with trends they didn't choose. Now we're in an era where people of my generation send our kids to school because we train them to think a job. And we said, if you go to school and you get a good education, you're going to come out and you're going to get a great job. And that was true when I was coming up. But that's not true today. Today you can, yeah, am I right about it? Today you can go to school, you can get a great education and come out with a good bill. A whole lot of debt and end up working at Burger King. The question then becomes, how do we, with our education and our disappointment, living in our mother's house, sleeping on the couch, eating cereal at noon, retool ourselves so that we can be functional in the 21st century? I listen to the argument that our country's having right now. It's hard to listen to. But beneath all of the chatter, the red belt states and the inner cities are crying about the same thing, the lack of opportunity. And we're looking to the White House to solve the problem. And the reality is that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. And we need solutions. And this goes beyond, we like to talk in terms of, we have nice terms for it, but it's really black and white, you know, urban and red belt states is really black folks, white folks. But now we're both getting broke. Okay, which is a scary situation. And you've got smart, bright, gifted, talented people who can't find an opportunity. Also in our community, and even in other communities, you have this dilemma of people who made mistakes when they were young, some criminal justice issue. And 25 years later, they can't get a job or a place to stay.
Right.
That's a real problem. So rather than to go get a job, I thought it was important to talk about being a job. You know, yeah, about being a job, about hiring yourself, about the opportunities that exist to create your own reality, your own business, your own company, to be the CEO of you. The CEO of you.
GM may close one Canadian auto plant and 4 more in the United States. Chairman and CEO Mary Barra said the move gives GM flexibility to invest in the future. In her words, these actions will increase the long-term profit and cash generation potential of the company. Chris Van Cleve is at a GM dealership in Vienna, Virginia, just outside Washington. Chris, good morning.
Good morning. Americans' preference for SUVs is part of what's driving GM away from sedans. Wall Street seems to like this move. They closed GM stock up about 5% as the company is trying to get leaner and pivot to electric vehicles and autonomous vehicles. But the move is creating a lot of controversy.
I moved my family twice for this company, and they do this to me.
Outrage over General Motors' decision to drop 6 underperforming sedans came quick. The move will idle 5 North American plants next year where the sedans are produced, potentially laying off up to 14,000 employees, mostly in the United States.
It's devastating what it will do to this community, not just GM.
The bad thing is to get this news on the day after we come back for Thanksgiving.
It's all about greed. It's all about putting more in their pockets.
The cuts include 8,000 salaried jobs, among them 25% of GM's executives, making it the largest cutback since the company went bankrupt and was bailed out by taxpayers during the 2008 financial crisis. GM repaid those loans. The announcement comes as the Trump administration steel tariffs have cost the automaker $1 billion.
Those jobs have left Ohio.
The cuts are a setback for President Trump, who made this promise in Ohio last year.
We're going to get those jobs coming back, and we're going to fill up those factories or rip them down and build brand new ones.
But before any plants can close, GM must reach a deal with the United Auto Workers Union. The union is vowing to fight.
We call on GM today, just as they called on all of us over a decade ago. Please save our American jobs.
Lawmakers and the Trump administration are pledging to pressure GM to keep the plants open and repurpose them, and to give affected workers opportunities to apply for other jobs at GM. Ford made a similar move in deciding to drop most of its sedans. That'll happen by 2022. John?
Chris, okay, so let's, in the face of all this backlash, why exactly, again, did Mary Barra decide to make these cuts, the CEO of GM?
Well, the marketplace is changing, and so is the demand for vehicles as autonomous vehicles are coming on the market here potentially in the next 5 years. Also, it takes 5 to 7 years to develop new vehicles, so if you're going to make a change even 7 years from now, you need to be thinking about it today. Those are factors in this decision, absolutely.
Okay, so she's thinking about the future market. Now, what happens to the workers?
So these plants will, in GM's words, become unallocated or essentially idle sometime during 2019, as early as March in one case. Another may stay open through most of 2019. So it'll be a rolling date coming here in the next few months.
Unallocated, a euphemism you don't want to hear if you're a worker there. Chris, thanks so much.
When God says to Adam, the very first command God says to Adam is to be fruitful. You can only be fruitful if you are seedful. Okay, so we're talking about the difference between fruit and seed. Identifying your seed is what causes you to be fruitful. The first revelation of seed should happen in your family. You should have parents who are looking at their kids looking for seeds. I'm going to give you my grandbaby story. You asked for it. You're going to get it. You're just going to get it. So we're in my church and it's dark and my grandbaby's in there and a bunch of friends are in there and we're taking pictures and I can't find the light. And, the lights are complicated and I can't figure out how to turn all this stuff on. And so we're trying to get some pictures. And so my grandbaby ran and she says, wait a minute, Paul. I'm going to get a flashlight. She went up under the pew where we have hidden flashlights, snatched down a flashlight and brought it over and said, now take the picture. And so I said to her, I said, baby, Kenzie, don't you want to be in the picture? She said, no, I don't want to be in the picture. I want to hold the light. That's the seed right there. That's the seed right there. So we came back to the house and I was getting ready to take a picture and I'm trying to keep up with you millennials, it's so hard. And I was trying to take a selfie and I got a timer, where you can back up, If you follow me on Instagram, you know this is true. And so I couldn't get my phone to sit up. And she went and got some books and propped it up. And I told my daughter, I said, put her in leadership classes, put her in management classes. She's a problem solver. That starts early. Her instinct in a situation is to solve the problem. She says, I don't want to be in the picture, I want to hold the light. Those are seeds. Okay. Directing that child toward an area where you can cultivate what God has planted down inside of them is important. It's very, very important. Mm-hmm. There are people in this room that have dormant seeds laying inside of them, that if they get in the right atmosphere, they're going to turn into things you have never seen before.
Hi, I'm Bishop George A. Copeland, founder and pastor of the United Faith Churches of Deliverance, and also founder and CEO of 90.3 WDIH Radio. I'd like to talk with you today on something that's very dear to my heart. The Lord has blessed me to live to be 70 years old, and I'm grateful to the Lord. I think about the Word of God in Psalm 71, and verse 17 and 18. 17th verse talks about when I was in my youth, the Lord taught me and brought me. Certainly He has brought me all these years. And I'm thinking about in the 18th verse when David said, now that I'm old and I'm gray-headed, don't forsake me till I have shown this generation your strength and your power. Third epistle of John and verse 2, he says, beloved, I wish above all things that you prosper and be in health, even as thy soul prosper. Notice he said, prosper, as naturally, and be in health, even as your soul prosper. Paul points out in 1 Corinthians, Paul says, first is natural, then spiritual. So you need to understand that God wants you naturally to prosper and be in health, and then He wants your soul to prosper. So if we get it together naturally and thinking about who it is that's given us the power to get wealth, then we will understand spiritually that we give God glory and give God praise for what He's allowed us to accomplish. And so as you watch this video, I trust that you have the same mindset that I have about this, saving a generation. And if not, who do you know that's concerned about their family members? That's your mindset. I'm challenging you and I'm pleading with you to join with me as we make a difference in the next generations. Thank you for listening and watching. And also the conclusion of this, take down the address and phone numbers that you may contact us as we're joining hundreds of others like yourself to make a difference in our world.
Is that the gold that has fascinated humankind since the very dawn of human time? We know almost nothing of those ancient artisans whose skilled and careful hands fashioned such things in so many different lands. This agreeable element, which many say came from a galaxy far away, is now held close to the hand or the face, although it comes from outer space. It's our affinity for it that gives it value, and from that value civilizations rise and fall. But gold is given to one and all who gaze across a field in winter or fall. It cannot depreciate or crash. It is the same today as in days long past, giving to each and every one riches greater than those of Solomon. With pockets full of gold, this is Charles Paparella, WBOC News.
The U.S. abandoned the gold standard in 1933 in spite of dire warnings it would lead to disaster. Today, economists agree it was the most important step taken to overcome the Great Depression.
We already know the European Union. So if you can buy gold now, you buy it. But you want to get as much as possible and lock it down. You want to keep it, don't sell it. And you notice that they're doing this all over the world. They're going all over the world just buying gold.
So you believe gold is the most valuable asset?
Gold is going to be the foundation for currency. It's going to be more important than paper.
So what I understand is in Zimbabwe right now.
It's all over the world.
Wow.
But they won't tell you that. I've done all my research on business.
So that's why the government is trying to get it off the street.
They want to get the streets, yeah.
So that's why
they don't want the citizens to have gold.
They don't want citizens to have it?
They would give you anything for your gold right now. You can deal.
Just giving it away.
People just giving it away. In the Bahamas, I told them on the radio the other day, you know, they got the same thing. They buy it from all the islands. Every island you go and try to give it to gold. They want all the golds to be in Fort Knox. All. They don't want no gold on the streets.
So let me ask you this on the gold mine, the investment that you made, because Dr. Jewell also makes investments with windmills and different things like that. And so I'm becoming more educated. And so I want to hear from you on this gold mine opportunity that you invested. Does this particular, going straight to the source, do they also pay you residual for sharing it, the opportunity with others, or do they just pay you one time for the investment?
If you have proud ownership in a gold mine, honey, you don't need nothing else in life.
You don't need nothing else?
I got proud ownership. See, this is why the foreigners, the white people, are trying to get into the African gold mines. Because they're trying to control them. They're trying to buy up rights to gold. The white people are trying to do that. Because they already know what's getting ready to happen. So what I'm doing in South Africa and Zambia and Malawi, he's giving me some trips. I tell them, control all the land, no more rights to land to foreigners. You can't give it anymore.
Oh my God.
Because all the wealth is in the land. All wealth is in the land. From Genesis, God is clear. God told Adam, the first thing God told Adam, the first thing, the gold in the land is good. Adam couldn't see it, you see, it was under the ground. He's telling him, don't touch the gold. So whoever controls golds and diamonds will rule the world.
To my dear friends and family, I really like that this company has set up an easy way for me to show you about my new adventure and why I'm so excited. Because as excited as I am, I was a little afraid to show it to you for fear of rejection. So they made this special video to make it easy on both of us. So here it is. Dear friends and family, you're probably surprised to hear that I've recently started buying gold. And frankly, I'm surprised as well. But this just made sense to me and thousands of others. With all the economic instability in our country and the world, I'd been concerned for a while, and I kept hearing about gold being a stable solution for nations, banks, and of course, the ultra-wealthy. Then, out of the blue, I was introduced to a gold buying program that was simple, sensible, and realistically doable for people like me and possibly you. That's why I'd like to introduce you to a new way to own, save, and even use gold as money. I was pretty skeptical when I first heard about this, and I imagine you might be as well. What I'm talking about is called a carat bar. A carat bar is a globally recognized form of money. Each carat bar contains 1 gram of 999.9% pure gold bullion, visibly sealed directly inside a credit card-sized card, which fits perfectly inside your wallet. They look awesome. Plus, they have added 2.5 and 5 gram sizes to choose from. So I decided to investigate a little further. What I discovered is that Carat Bars International is a legitimate, debt-free, fully self-funded corporation based in Germany. They're growing rapidly because they provide one of the world's most highly valued resources in a totally new 21st century format. Everyone should own some gold. I sincerely believe it's the right time, and Carat Bars is the right way to do it. That's why I'm so excited about sharing this with you as my way of paying it forward. Now, this may or may not be for you, and if it isn't, of course, that's fine. I certainly respect your decision. In turn, I hope you'll respect and support my desire to tell family and friends about the value of Carat Bars. No doubt, we all buy a lot of stupid things in our lives, but gold is not one of them. Carat Bars is prime real estate. It costs less than any comparable 1 gram gold bullion bar of this quality. It resells for more, and it holds its value out of the vault. Once you discover the numerous benefits of owning Carat Bars and paying it forward to your own family and friends, I know you'll appreciate my enthusiasm about this unique way to save, sell, and even retail gold. Oh, and did I mention your account is totally free? All you have to do is click on the link on this page to open yours today. So, what's even better than owning a little gold? The feeling that comes from paying this great idea forward to family and friends and the people you care about. Sincerely, me.
My heart is crying out for freedom, 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 freedom. That's what I need. Freedom, freedom, freedom. Ooh, yeah. Freedom. That's what I want. Freedom. My freedom. Look around in this place I'm in, I'm crying out in darkness. No light in front to see, searching for strength and guidance in this walk I'm in. I'm asking you to break the shackles off of me. I've been fighting through the storm and the Lord rain. Knows I'm tired. I need a clean heart and a new fresh wind.
Help. Save our generation. Old Ben Franklin said, "Tell me, and I forget. Teach me, and I may remember. Involve me, and I learn." Do you have a plan for your future, for the future of your loved ones?